You know, in the high-stakes world of drug development, data is absolutely everything. But what happens when that data is written in thousands of different languages? Well, today we're going to decode the Rosetta Stone of pharmaceutical data, a set of standards that really did turn chaos into clarity. Just imagine this for a second. A company in Germany runs a clinical trial. Another one in Japan runs a similar study. A third in the US does the same thing. And look, they're all collecting crucial data on safety, on effectiveness, on side effects. But here's the catch. Each one structures that data in a completely different way. So for a regulator like the FDA, trying to compare these studies is a total nightmare. It's like trying to build a puzzle where none of the pieces are designed to fit together. And look, this isn't just some boring paperwork problem. This data chaos leads to massive, unnecessary delays in getting brand new medicines to the people who are desperately waiting for them. And this gets to a really weird paradox in the industry. The very problems that slow everyone down the most, things like these incompatible data formats, are shared by every single company. It's one of those things where, since no single company got a leg up by fixing it, well, for decades, nobody did. It was just this massive shared roadblock. But what if? What if there was a way to create a universal language for all this clinical research? A single coherent way of speaking that everyone could agree on? Well, that's exactly where the hero of our story comes in. So say hello to CDISC. That's the Clinical Data Interchange Standards Consortium. Founded way back in 1997, this global nonprofit was created to tackle that exact problem of data chaos head-on. And their mission, it's super clear and honestly pretty powerful: to make clinical research data universally interoperable. Interoperable is the magic word here. It just means making sure all these different systems and all this data can work together, totally seamlessly. Okay, so what does that actually look like in the real world? It means a reviewer at the FDA can grab a data set from any company, anywhere on the planet, and analyze it using the exact same set of tools they use for every other submission. Just like that, the language barrier is gone. So how do they actually pull this off? Well, CDIS isn't just one thing. It's not some magic wand. It's a whole toolkit of different standards, each designed to organize data at every single step of the process. So let's break down the big ones. First up, you've got SDTM. The easiest way to think about this is like a universal filing cabinet. It takes all that messy, raw data from a clinical trial and neatly organizes it into standard folders or domains. So patient demographics always go in the DM folder, adverse events go in AE, lab results in LB, and so on. No more guessing games. Now, once everything's neatly filed away in SDTM, that's where ADAM comes in. If SDTM is the filing cabinet, think of ADAM as the analysis spreadsheet. It takes that organized data and preps it specifically for statisticians, creating these analysis-ready data sets that reviewers need to actually confirm if a drug is safe and effective. And of course, we all know drug development doesn't just start with people. That's where the SEND standard comes in. It's basically the blueprint for all that essential preclinical data from animal studies. It makes sure that this foundational safety data is also structured in a predictable, consistent way long before a drug ever gets to human trials. And what's really cool is that this whole system isn't just for cleaning up data at the end. It starts at the very, very beginning with something called CDASH. Think of this as the universal questionnaire. It standardizes how data is even collected in the first place. By getting it right from day one, you avoid a ton of expensive and time-consuming headaches later on. Okay, so for a long, long time, all of this was just, a really good idea, a best practice, something smart companies did. But then everything changed. Because speaking this universal language went from being a nice to have to being the law. And then, bam, December 2016, the FDA basically dropped the hammer. They made CDISC standards a mandatory requirement for all new drug submissions. Overnight, this nonprofit's ideas became the official language of regulatory approval in the US. Japan followed, and now it's preferred by regulators in Europe and China too. It's a huge deal. And let me be clear, the consequences for not playing by these rules are huge. It is not a suggestion. As the source material puts it, non-compliance leads to delays and outright rejection. If your data doesn't speak CDISC, the FDA will simply send it back. Full stop. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? On one side, you've got submissions getting rejected, which can mean months of delays and millions of dollars just vaporized. On the other side, with CDISC, you get a faster review, a quicker path to market for life-saving drugs, and that beautiful thing we call data interoperability. The strategic importance is just massive. But here's the thing. The story of CDISC isn't finished, not by a long shot. This universal language isn't just sitting still. It's evolving to take on the next big wave of healthcare innovation.
And this, to me, is where things get really, really exciting. Through something called the RWD Connect Initiative, CDISC is now looking beyond just traditional clinical trials. It's building standards for real-world data, all that health info from electronic health records, insurance claims, patient registries. Think about what that means. It could totally change the game for how we prove new medicines work.
So all this leaves us with one final big question. We've pretty much established that data is the new medicine, right? It's the bedrock. And CDISC has given us this incredibly powerful, universal language to understand it. But as data gets even more complex, coming from our watches, from our genes, from AI, is one language, even a great one, going to be enough to capture it all? Well, that's the challenge for the next decade.